Too loud? Is it okay?
Perfect.
Perfect. That's amazing. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Coming out on an evening like this is a sacrifice. And people said, don't hold a town hall in Lomita and don't hold a town hall in Wilmington because people won't show up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hold a town hall wherever I can. And Lomita for sure. And I actually, how many of you live in Lomita incidentally? I know some of you don't. Anybody live in Lomita? Got a few people. Oh, you don't, okay. 248th Street for about 12 years. I lived over on 248th Street, just off Narbonne. So where do the rest of you live? Torrance?
Harbor City.
Harbor City?
Actually, El Segundo.
El Segundo, okay.
Yeah, you just missed me there on Monday.
You just missed me there, yeah. So that's where I graduated from high school. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I am so glad you're here. We're going to go through a very fast-paced PowerPoint presentation. And what it is, it's going to zero in on the issues of today that I think are the most important. Then we'll have time for questions and answers. That's what this campaign for me is about. It's not empty political rhetoric and attacks. You probably have seen the TV commercials, you've seen the direct mail, you've got these phone calls. They're nothing but attack after attack. So I'm glad you're here to see I don't have horns and So we'll talk about the issues. And I'll mention my opponent every once in a while, but I want to stick to the issues, and that's what we're going to do. Now, just out of a matter of curiosity, how many of you in here have take my newsletter, Reality Alert? Anybody? I've seen it. You've seen it? So, a couple people, okay. Now, I grew up here in the South Bay area. I was surfing at El Portal, the elementary school in the Hawthorne area. I've lived in Lomita here. I've lived in San Pedro. And my company has been in Torrance for over 25 years. Now, in 25 years, I've had clients nationwide. Locally, I've generated hundreds of jobs. Nationally, thousands of jobs. And because that's one of my successes in understanding economics and understanding business, I understand that you're going to get phone calls, direct mail, maybe even be on it with a TV commercial attacking my business. I've had my business being attacked, my family's being attacked. Every idea I have is either torn apart, misrepresented, twisted, and distorted. It's like, who is it that's saying these things? Oh, it's me. It's like really strange. But I tried to maintain a campaign of integrity. I wasn't planning to run for Congress. I was happy generating jobs in Torrance and doing my business. And I got these phone calls, and with consultation, my beautiful wife Shelley back here, my love of my life said, you know what? I think we should do this. So it's been quite a sacrifice. I got all 5 of my kids involved, and the kids are one of the main reasons I'm doing this. Because when I take a look at it, my kids are all either just out of college or going to be out of college. Caleb back here, where's Caleb sitting there? Caleb, he just graduated from American University. He and his friends are looking around for jobs. Are there jobs available? No, there's not jobs available. And we have a government-created, and we'll talk about this, unemployment rate. It's so unacceptable. And then we've got little kids, maybe with little kids or grandkids. Let me tell you, any kids 10 and under, if we continue on the path we're going down, these kids are going to live at a lower standard of living than anything you've ever experienced. We're headed for a monetary and economic crisis ahead if we don't turn this economy around. So I decided to run. And as I ran and I was like the unknown. And nobody took me serious. And I beat the powerful Secretary of State, Deborah Bolton. I'm really glad I got a lot of Biden supporters who are upset with Janice Hahn for the attack ads that they did on her. But nobody thought I could do this. The headlines on election night said Hahn and Bowen can run off. That wasn't the case. The paper said, surprise, stunned, shocked, confounded the experts. And I'm going to share with you some campaign things at the end, how close we are in this race. That's like this and that, it's back and forth, it's so close. And that's why you're seeing these negative ads. I refuse to do it. I want to have a campaign of integrity, but what you're seeing are these negative ads, and that's because they're all designed for some reason. They want to have seniors not vote if they're not going to vote for her. They want to have Republicans not vote if they don't want to. For independents, Democrats, it's all designed to scare people or shock people or mobilize people. But I think it's backfiring, and I think it's counterproductive. It certainly lacks integrity. So, in running for this race, I've committed to winning this race as a business owner. With all these years, I don't do something without doing my due diligence and making sure everything's in place. And everything has been in place. And it's because of this economic problem that I even considered doing this. But basically what we have is a situation where we need to turn this economy around. We have to turn this economy around. And I've got 7 steps I'm going to go through with you tonight of how we can turn this economy around. When I go through San Pedro, I see store after store after store vacant. When I look at Torrance, what do I see? People who need jobs and can't find jobs. When I take a look at people and talk about how they're getting along, people are suffering because prices are rising. Why is that? Well, I submit the problem goes back to the problems we're going to discuss here. And the first one is we got to stop the historic spending and debt crisis. We are in a historic crisis right now. And you probably have heard about all the talk about the debt ceiling limit. I'll talk about that in a second. But we got a $1.6 trillion budget deficit. Historic. $14.4 trillion national debt. It boggles the mind. And you add that up with the off budget of $112.5 trillion, it's $427,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. That's how much is owed. Never before has anything happened like this. We are almost getting to the point where we're just like Greece, only bigger. I have a TV commercial, and I'm trying to raise funds to be able to run it again. And it's called the Lemonade Stand. Anybody see that TV commercial? Some of you did. Okay, great. I want to run it again. And basically, you got 2 cute kids selling lemonade, and they got a jar full of money, and then along 2 government goons come along with suits and dark glasses, and they hand them a bill for the national debt, $427. The kids go, well, we can't pay this. And he says, you better figure out how, kid. We'll take this as a down payment. He grabs the kid's jar. And then I come on talking about the budget deficit. But this is the crisis that we have today. So we need this, in stopping the historic spending and debt crisis, we got to realize that raising the debt ceiling, the only reason, in fact, this would be the first vote you would have for me. You want to know where I would vote, how I would stand? Guys, I'm a businessman, not a career politician. I can't stand it when Republicans who have made such a mess make more messes because they're politicians. Or the Democrats. You know, the Democrats and the Republicans have both. And part of the thing is this culture of being a career politician and playing these political games. Well, there's a lot of people in Washington right now who are disgusted with it, and maybe not enough, but enough. And one of the issues is that raising the debt limit, and with raising the debt limit, they're saying no. And debt limit unless there's a corresponding decrease in spending. There has to be that corresponding decrease in spending. And if you raise it out of fear, you know, I think it was May 17th, Treasurer Githner and Fed Chairman Bernanke said the world was going to end. But the world didn't end. And so raising the debt limit without any requirements is enabling. It's like an alcoholic. For President Obama's new budget talks about, besides our crisis we now have, he wants to add $4.5 trillion in just, or $4.5 trillion has been added to this national debt just in 3 years.